Have you ever felt like your prayers were disappearing into silence, as if your words were hitting an invisible wall before they could reach the heavens? You pour your heart out in dua. You beg Allah for what you need most, and yet days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and still nothing changes. The silence becomes deafening. The waiting becomes unbearable, and slowly doubt creeps in like a shadow, whispering that maybe Allah isn't listening. Maybe your prayers don't matter. Maybe you're not worthy of an answer. But what if I told you that this very silence, this very delay, might be the most profound mercy Allah could ever show you? What if the moments when you feel most abandoned are actually when you're being prepared for something far greater than you could ever imagine? Tonight, we're going to uncover one of the most beautiful yet misunderstood aspects of Islamic spirituality, the secret power of dua that most Muslims never fully grasp. We're going to explore why Allah, in His infinite wisdom, sometimes delays our prayers, and how understanding this divine timing can transform not just your relationship with dua, but your entire approach to faith itself. If this resonates with something deep in your soul, if you've ever questioned why your sincere prayers seem to go unanswered, then type 777. In the comments, your engagement means everything to us, and it helps us continue bringing you content that strengthens your connection with Allah. And to those of you who have supported this channel through every video, every share, every prayer, we are deeply grateful. Your presence fuels our mission to spread the light of Islamic wisdom. May Allah reward you abundantly for your dedication. Now, before we dive deep into this mystery, let me ask you something that might shake the very foundation of how you think about prayer. What if unanswered duas aren't actually unanswered at all? What if every single prayer you've ever whispered, every tear you've shed in sujud, every desperate plea you've made in the depths of night has been heard, recorded, and responded to in ways your limited human understanding simply cannot perceive? The truth is, Allah's response to our prayers operates on a level of wisdom so profound that our finite minds can barely comprehend it. When we think our prayers are delayed, Allah is actually orchestrating something magnificent behind the scenes. Every moment of waiting, every second of silence, is part of a divine plan that extends far beyond our immediate desires and reaches into the very depths of our spiritual development. Consider this for a moment. When you plant a seed in the ground, do you expect it to become a tree overnight? Of course not. You understand that growth requires time, proper conditions, and patience. Yet when it comes to our prayers, we often expect instant results, as if Allah operates like some cosmic vending machine where we insert our duas and immediately receive our requested outcomes. But Allah is not a vending machine. He is the all-wise, the all-knowing, the one who sees the beginning and end of all things simultaneously. When He delays your prayers, He's not being cruel or indifferent. He's being the perfect parent who knows exactly what you need and exactly when you need it. Even when you think you know better, think about the last time you desperately wanted something that you didn't receive. Maybe it was a job opportunity that slipped away, a relationship that didn't work out, or a financial breakthrough that never came. At the time, it felt like rejection, like Allah had turned His back on you. But looking back now, can you see how that apparent rejection might have protected you from something harmful or prepared you for something better? This is the first layer of understanding the secret power of dua. Every prayer creates ripples in the spiritual realm that extend far beyond our immediate circumstances. When Allah delays our prayers, He's not just considering our request in isolation. He's looking at how granting or delaying that prayer will affect our spiritual growth, our character development, our relationships with others, and our ultimate destiny in both this world and the next. The scholars of Islam have identified three possible responses to every sincere dua. First, Allah may grant your request immediately in the form you asked for. Second, He may delay granting it until a time that is more beneficial for you. Third, He may replace what you asked for with something even better. Or He may remove some harm from your path as a response to your prayer. In every case, your dua has been answered, but not necessarily in the way your limited human perspective expected. But here's where it gets even more beautiful. The very act of making dua, regardless of the immediate outcome, is transforming you in ways you may not even realize. Every time you raise your hands in supplication, every time you humble yourself before Allah, every time you acknowledge your complete dependence on Him, you are being purified, refined, and elevated spiritually. The waiting period, that space between your dua and its manifestation, is not empty time. It's sacred time. It's the time when Allah is preparing your heart to receive His blessing in a way that will benefit you most. Sometimes what we think we want would actually harm us if we received it immediately. Sometimes we need to grow spiritually before we're ready to handle what we've asked for. Have you ever considered that your delayed prayers might be Allah's way of keeping you close to Him? Think about it. If every prayer was answered immediately, would you continue turning to Allah with the same intensity, the same desperation, the same beautiful vulnerability that characterizes true worship? Sometimes Allah delays our prayers because the delay itself is the answer. Sometimes the journey of seeking is more transformative than the destination of receiving. In those moments when you feel most distant from Allah, when your heart aches with longing and your soul cries out for relief, you are actually experiencing one of the most intimate forms of worship. You are learning to love Allah not for what He gives you, but simply for who He is. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, experienced this divine wisdom firsthand during the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. When he and his companions were prevented from performing Umrah, it seemed like a devastating setback. They had traveled so far, their hearts yearning for the sacred Kaaba, only to be turned away at the threshold of Makkah. Yet Allah later revealed that this apparent obstacle was actually a manifest victory, opening doors that led to the eventual peaceful conquest of Makkah and the spread of Islam throughout Arabia. This teaches us something profound about divine timing. What appears to be a closed door in our limited view might actually be Allah redirecting us toward a path we never could have imagined, one that leads to blessings far greater than our original request. Your delayed prayers are not signs of divine indifference. They are signs of divine precision. Consider the story of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him. Years of slavery, false imprisonment, and separation from his beloved father must have filled his heart with countless du'as for freedom, for justice, for reunion. Yet each delay in answering those prayers was actually positioning him for a destiny that would save entire nations from famine and elevate him to unimaginable honor. Had his prayers been answered immediately, the world would have lost one of its greatest stories of divine wisdom and human perseverance. Your situation may not involve saving nations, but the principle remains the same. Allah is positioning you, preparing you, purifying you for something that requires you to be exactly who you will become through this journey of waiting and trusting. The version of you that first made that prayer may not be ready for its fulfillment. But the version of you that emerges after months or years of patient supplication, of clinging to faith despite the silence, of growing closer to Allah through the struggle itself, that version might be perfectly prepared to receive and appreciate the blessing in ways you cannot currently fathom. This is why the scholars say that sometimes the greatest mercy Allah can show us is to not give us what we think we want when we think we want it. A young person desperate for marriage might pray fervently for a specific individual, not knowing that person would bring them misery. Allah's delay protects them from heartbreak, while preparing them to recognize and appreciate their true soulmate when the time is right. So remember this truth as you continue your journey of dua. Every prayer you make is heard, valued, and answered by Allah in His perfect timing. Trust in His wisdom when the silence feels overwhelming, for He is crafting something beautiful from your waiting. Your delayed prayers are not rejections, but divine preparations for blessings beyond your imagination. Keep praying, keep trusting, and know that Allah's timing is always perfect, is always